Next chapter, guys, is called Lunch. We're up to page 49. Hold on, I've just done something to my watch. 49. Via had warned me about lunch in middle school, so I guess I should have known it would be hard. I just hadn't expected it to be this hard. Basically, all the kids from the 5th grade classes poured into the cafeteria at the same time, talking loudly and bumping into one another while they ran to different tables. One of the lunchroom teachers said something about no seat saving allowed, but I didn't know what she meant, and maybe no one else did either, because just about everybody was saving seats for their friends. I tried to sit down at one table, but the kid in the next chair said, "Oh, sorry, but somebody else is sitting here." So I moved to an empty table and just waited for everyone to finish stampeding and the lunchroom teacher to tell us what to do next. As she started telling us the cafeteria rules, I looked around to see where Jack Will was sitting, but I didn't see him on my side of the room. Kids were still coming in as the teachers started calling the first few tables to get their trays and stand in line at the counter. Julian, Henry and Miles were sitting at the table towards the back of the room. Mum had packed me a cheese sandwich, graham crackers and a juice box, so I didn't need to stand on line when my table was called. Instead, I just concentrated on opening my backpack, pulling out my lunch bag and slowly opening the aluminium foil wrapping of my sandwich. I could tell I was being stared at without even looking up. I knew that people were nudging each other, watching me out of the corners of their eyes. I thought that I was used to those kinds of stares by now, but I wasn't. There was one table of girls that I knew were whispering about me because they kept talking behind their hands. Their eyes and whispers kept bouncing over to me. I hate the way I eat. I know how weird it looks. I had a surgery to fix my cleft palate when I was a baby, and then a second cleft surgery when I was 4, but I still have a hole in the roof of my mouth. And even though I had jaw alignment surgery a few years ago, I have to chew in the front of my mouth. I didn't even realise how this looked until I was at a birthday party once. And one of the kids told the mum of the birthday boy he didn't want to sit next to me because it was too messy with all the food crumbs shooting out of my mouth. I know the kid wasn't trying to be mean, but he got in big trouble later, and his mum called my mum that night to apologise. When I got home from the party, I went to the bathroom mirror and started eating a saltine cracker to see what it looked like when I was chewing. The kid was right. I eat like a tortoise, if you've ever seen a tortoise eating, like some prehistoric swamp thing. Next chapter, the summer table. "Hey, is this seat taken?" I looked up, and a girl I never saw before was standing across from my table with a lunch tray full of food. She had long, wavy brown hair and wore a brown t-shirt with a purple peace sign on it. No, I said. She put her lunch tray on the table, plopped her backpack on the floor and sat down across from me. She started to eat the mac and cheese on her plate. "Oh," she said after swallowing the first bite, "I should have brought a sandwich like you did." "Yeah," I said, nodding. "My name's Summer, by the way. What's yours?" "August." "Cool," she said. Summer. Another girl came over to the table carrying a tray. "Why are you sitting here? Come back to the table." "It was too crowded," Summer answered her. "Come sit here, there's more room." The other girl looked confused for a second. I realised she'd been one of the girls I had caught looking at me just a few minutes earlier, hand cupped over her mouth, whispering. I guess Summer had been one of the girls at the table too. "Never mind," said the girl, leaving. Summer looked at me, smiled, and took another bite of her macaroni cheese. "Hey, our names kind of match," she said as she chewed. I guess she could tell I didn't know what she meant. "Summer, August," she said, smiling, her eyes open wide as she waited for me to get it. "Oh, yeah," I said after a second. "We can make this the summer-only lunch table," she said. "Only kids with summer names can sit here. Let's see, is anyone here named June or July?" "There's a Maya," I said. "Technically, May is spring," Summer answered, "but if she wanted to sit here, I guess we could make an exception." She said it as if she'd actually thought the whole thing through. "There's Julian. That's like the name Julia, which comes from July." I didn't say anything. "There's a kid named Reed in my English class," I said. "Yeah, I know Reed, but how is Reed a summer name?" she asked. "I don't know," I shrugged. "I just picture like a reed of grass being a summer thing." "Yeah, okay," she nodded, pulling out her notebook. "And Miss Petosa could sit here too. That kind of sounds like the word petal." which I think of as a summer thing too. I have her for homeroom, I said. I have her for maths, she answered, making a face. She started writing the list of names on the second to last page of her notebook. So who else? She said. By the end of lunch, we'd come up with a whole list of names of kids and teachers who could sit at our table if they wanted. Most of the names weren't actually summer names, but they were names that had some kind of connection to summer. I even found a way of making Jack Will's name work by pointing out that you could turn his name into a sentence about summer, like Jack will go to the beach, which Summer agreed worked fine. But if someone doesn't have a summer name and wants to sit with us, she said very seriously, we'll still let them sit here if they're nice, okay? Okay, I nodded, even if it's a winter name. Cool beans, she answered, giving me a thumbs up. Summer looked like her name. She had a tan and her eyes were green like a leaf. Excuse me. Next chapter, 1 to 10. It's page 54. Mum always had this habit of asking me how something felt on the scale of 1 to 10. It started after I had my jaw surgery, when I couldn't talk because my mouth was wired shut. They had taken a piece of bone from my hip bone to insert into my chin to make it look more normal, so I was hurting in a lot of different places. My mum would point to one of my bandages and I would hold up my fingers to show her how much it was hurting. 1 meant a little bit and 10 meant so much. Then she would tell the doctor when he made his rounds what needed adjusting or things like that. Mum got very good at reading my mind sometimes. After that, we got into the habit of doing the 1 to 10 scale for anything that hurt. Like, if I just had a plain old sore throat, she'd ask 1 to 10, and I'd say, 3, or whatever it was. When school was over, I went outside to meet Mum, who was waiting for me at the front entrance like all the other parents or babysitters. The first thing she said after hugging me was, so, how was it? 1 to 10? 5, I said, shrugging, which I could tell totally surprised her. Wow, she said quietly. That's even better than I hoped for. Are we picking up Via? Miranda's mother is picking her up today. Do you want me to carry your backpack, sweetness? We had started walking through the crowd of kids and parents, most of whom were noticing me, secretly pointing me out to each other. I'm fine, I said. It looks heavy, Augie. She started to take it from me. Mom, I said, pulling my backpack away from her. I walked in front of her through the crowd. See you tomorrow, August. It was Summer. She was walking in the opposite direction. Bye, Summer, I said, waving at her. As soon as we crossed the street and were away from the crowd, Mum said, Who was that, Augie? Summer. Is she in your class? I have lots of classes, Mum. Is she in any of your classes? Mum said. Nope. Mum waited for me to say something else, but I just didn't feel like talking. So it went okay, said Mum. I could tell she had a million questions she wanted to ask me. Everyone was nice? Did you like your teachers? Yeah. How about those kids you met last week? Were they nice? Fine. Jack hung out with me a lot. That's so great, sweetie. What about that boy Julian? I thought about the Darth Sidious comment. By now it felt like that had happened 100 years ago. He was okay, I said. And the blonde girl, what was her name? Charlotte, Mum. I said everyone was nice already. Okay, Mum answered. I honestly don't know why. I was kind of mad at Mum, but I was. We crossed Amsfort Avenue and she didn't say anything else until we turned into our block. So, Mum said, how did you meet Summer if she isn't in any of your classes? We sat and had lunch together, I said. I had started kicking a rock between my feet like it was a soccer ball, chasing it back and forth across the sidewalk. She seems very nice. Yeah, she is. She's very pretty, Mum said. Yeah, I know, I answered. We're kind of like Beauty and the Beast. I didn't wait to see Mum's reaction. I just started running down the sidewalk after the rock, which I had kicked as hard as I could in front of me. Got time for one more? Don't think I have. Hope you enjoyed. See you tomorrow.